Okay, guys, here we go. 4-6 profile, riding across a penetration. Then you get to the fourth line. It was one of the most interesting experiences for me. I had a friend who actually ended up living here on the island. He owned a very famous esoteric boot store in Amsterdam. I was a Dutch guy. I was a guest of his because he was a friend of mine here on the island, talking about Ibiza. I just written or had written in me, or however you want to describe that, the original rave I Ching. He introduced me to a group of Dutch I Ching specialists. The group as a whole there was about 150 years of experience working with the traditional Chinese I Ching. I had 4 or 5 evenings with him. It was really a delight. They were fascinated. It was very difficult for them to take it incredibly seriously. I was quite a freak, and this was before anything had been published. But they were taken by the position of the hexagrams in the body and all this kind of stuff. They did an analysis of my lines because the miracle of the Rave I Ching is that I had no reference. I just wrote it. So they were very interested in parallels. If you do that yourself, it's an interesting meditation. By the way, I've done it. I did it years later. You can see this correlation between every line in the Rave I Ching with the original I Ching except the 54-4. And that was a clear, direct instruction of the voice. It came along before I even wrote it, the book, because he told me about this gate, this line, and what it means in different terms. This is a very special line, guys, whatever we are right now. Maybe one of the most special lines. So, anyway, we come to the fourth line of enlightenment and darkment, which means absolutely nothing. This line means absolutely nothing. Even when you read it, you realize it means absolutely nothing because it tells you absolutely nothing. What it tells you is that there's no more perfect place to be called by anything than here. That is what it says, and it means that that call could be mundane. It could be so mundane it's spooky, and it can be exalted that it will fry your brain. In other words, there is this vast spectrum of being recognized. The advantage is that the fours have the network. What they don't understand is that they could see a four and their network. There's also another way to see it. They are not creating the network. The fractal lines are already there. They've always been there. They just happen to run along certain fractal lines. It's not like they're creating them. The lines of geometry are already there. And those lines of geometry have places in which they're open to anything, God or the devil. It doesn't make a difference. Demons and angels. But the whole point is that this line is the deepest resolution that you can get when you come from the opposition in civilization and you come over here. It's like the fourth lane says, my network tells me that there's a stairway to heaven. Don't worry, we will take you up. You could see the beauty of that when John Paul died and they read his will and he had nothing. Yet everybody's convinced that the right he's sitting beside God. Well, not everyone, but Catholics anyway. The very first thing that was said was his last breath that is now sitting with his father. That's a 54.4 piece of work. Only the 54-4 has the nerve to be able to say, maybe what I need to do is build a temple for God to recognize me. Only the 54-4 has the chutzpah to mix money and God. And either it's not money and only God. The joke of John Paul is that, yes, he had nothing, but he let me sell the artwork that was in his room. He lived like a prince of princes. After all, he's the head of the country, servants and pope, mobiles, and private doctors. Yeah, he left nothing. Give me a fucking break. He never had to have anything. Yes, we all should be so poor. We should all have that kind of job. Only the 54-4 will get into this business. And of course, you can see why they're at 4-6. They see that you can go from pessimism to optimism. This is a wonderful leap of faith. And they really find God on the roof. They find religion on the roof. You have all these people that have found God in their middle of life crisis. They are roof people going, I don't want to go down. Can I go up? Down there is very poorly. Maybe up there, everything is going to be fine. You know, the meek shall inherit the earth. Yeah, the meek shall inherit the earth. This is very interesting because I think those people that grow food right now and that are self sustaining, in any community that's more self sustaining or caring for itself, these are the kind of places where we survive into the future. And anything related or depending on systems, on other food sources, they're not going to be able to survive because we have this total shutdown of our lives and the killing of our farmers and our food. So yeah, it's really about us being more self-depending and having our own thing going on. So who knows? This is my coming off the roof. Thanks for watching and listening there.